Hello, and welcome to your birth chart reading. So, we're going to get into a couple of things. First off, I'm just going to confirm July 6th, 87, 7:45 a.m. And we are in Canso, Nova Scotia, when you were born. So, we're going to speak a little bit about astrology. I'm not sure what your familiarity with your level of information that you already have. So, I'm going to start with the basics. Obviously, you know your Cancer because you were born in Cancer season. So the seasons are constellations. It's the sun moving through a constellation. So Aries season going through the constellation of Aries. The sun moves through it. And as it goes through it, it makes aspects to other planets in other constellations, right? So the sun was in Cancer when you were born. And it was in the sky. The sunrise would have made everything very dreamlike. It would have fit. It was dawn. It's just after dawn when you were born. Absolutely beautiful frequency here. Something to note is that because it was dawn, but it wasn't like you were not born as the sun rose. You were born about an hour and a half later. There is a solar frequency. The constellation that was most eastern horizon point from where you were born, that constellation had the sun right there. Okay, so this constellation is Leo. That's your ascendant. Where Earth met sky is your ascendant. Your solar energy is right here because you were born in the morning. When you were born, there was a lot going on in the constellation of Cancer. Mars was there. Black Moon Lilith was there. Mercury was in retrograde and it was there, and Venus was there too. So there was like kind of a lineup in the constellation, and obviously it was morning, right? And the sun is there, so we can't really see unless we have X-ray vision. So we're going to pretend to put on night vision goggles, okay? So like we can see the negative energy, okay? The frequency, and I'm not meaning bad, I mean black, the darkness. If you were to have X-ray vision or like that kind of goggles to look up at through your telescope, you would see that the sun had all of these things around it in the constellation of the rising, just above the rising. This equals your 12th house space. The 12th house is about meditation. It's about practice of you and God, like detachment from material world completely, and your relationship with your intuition, your higher self, your powers. It's also where you let things go. It's where you let things die. Having so much going on up in a compartment of the 12th house ruled by the moon means that phases are supposed to go through you, my love. When it comes to partnerships, when it comes to motivation, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to understanding, when it comes to ego, it's all something that you're closing out in this lifetime. Now, I want to speak to a little bit as to why. In ancient astrology, different planets are associated with kinds of people in your life and roles in your life. If you're born during the daytime, which you were, the sun rules over your chart as it's your father figures, it's your masculine figures, it's your bosses. Having them in the 12th house in Cancer, kind of more spiritual presence, kind of more a thought than a physical figure. With Mercury and Venus and Mars, and there's a story there, and I'm sure you know it, so I'm not going to get into it, but just understand it's in the astrology, the relationship that you have to father, all that complicated story around fathers and authority being kind of like an ever-present, omnipresent energy, but you don't actually have it in your face. You know what that is more than I do. But understand that you were predestined to have that, so that you did have this relationship with detachment and authority, that you could walk away from it. You could step back from it. You don't have to play by the rules in this lifetime, by the way. And we're going to get into why a little bit more. But I want to just make you understand that this heavy 12th house energy, it can show up as isolating oneself, doing too many drugs. It can show up as running away. It can show up as hiding from other people. It can show up as abandonment. That being said, those are all the negative aspects of having a heavy 12th house. I also have a heavy 12th house. I experienced those kind of lower vibrational things in my early years. The other side of it is to stuff I actually do all the time that you probably are already taking the practice of doing. Astrology, spirituality, looking within, meditating. Also, traveling to foreign lands for spiritual practice. The 12th house is foreign places, but it's also astral travel. So, like, if you mentally go, traveling through, I don't know, using like Google World, whatever, like, let yourself do that, let yourself explore. Esoteric learning, also working in hospitals, working with people at the end of life and beginning of life. These are elements that you have magical powers in because you were born to help people close things off. You were born to help people come to resolve about endings, okay? You're a grief worker in many, many ways. And I'm not saying that just to say like it's daunting. Like I understand that's a heavy load, but just know that like the most impact that you will make in your life is about inspiring people to let go and move on and change. Okay, so I'm gonna run through your houses now. We're gonna talk about the houses, and each of them take a different approach. There is a couple more signs that have planets in them, but we really needed to talk about Cancer first because it is so impactful to you. You are a Leo rising, meaning that you are running on a 24-hour clock. Unlike most women who have just this 1 month cycle, you also have a masculine cycle and a feminine cycle. So your 24 hours, you go through an entire transformational process as well as the 28 days process that your feminine does. So if you don't relate to women entirely and you don't relate to men entirely, understand that's because you're a Leo rising. It's because you hold both and you came with both and you didn't have to work to integrate them, or most people do. Okay. So that's why you don't relate to them, is because they haven't learned to integrate both masculine and feminine with balance. You learn this through, well, it's experience through your father, right? It's experience through not having things or having things taken away or having things be of a spiritual nature and not a physical one. That taught you to process differently than just what you were taught by women. So I have the second house is intercepted in your Placidus chart. What does that mean? It's just so you know, as an astrologer, there's a couple different ways we can chart, and there's Placidus is really, really popular in popular astrology right now. I use whole sign and then add Placidus on top. So I'm actually using two different kinds of house methods. I believe the whole sign method tells you what your baseline normal is, and then your Placidus tells you where your learned behaviors are. Okay, so nature, nurture. So the nature of you is to be meticulous with money and order and your self order and your health and meticulous, anal meticulous. It is intercepted, so I feel like this might be something you learned you can't share with other people. You can't really trust other people with your money. You can't trust other people with your self-worth. You can't trust other people, especially when it comes to siblings. There's something there to do with siblings or neighbors that make it like you almost lose out as soon as you go into partnership. Understand that that's valid. That's a real feeling. You do need to you need to use discernment. You have a south node at 6 degrees in Libra, meaning that you could bless people. Absolutely. When it comes to love and connection and friendship and stuff, but you can't offer that kind of trust in business. It won't work. You'll end up getting taken advantage of with the south node in the third house. You have a moon conjunct Pluto. This is one of the strongest placements in your chart. It literally aspects almost everything. Pluto's at 7 degrees. It's retrograde. Moon's at 9 degrees, and they're both in Scorpio. You're going to hear people say, oh, Scorpio moon, oh no, oh my God, you're like, what happened to you? Or you're probably heard all of your fucking life, you're too intense, you're too much, you're too potent, you're too brooding, you're domineering. Oh, fuck them all, okay? None of them get it. They're not meant for you. If you're scaring them off with your intensity, that's because they're not your people, and you need to get much more comfortable with letting them walk away from you. Okay. Your ability to see the truth and call it out and live in your authenticity is going to scare the fuck out of most people. Scorpio power is a different kind of energy. And when it affects your solar energies like it does, when it makes positive aspects to your Neptune like it does, like your moon may be debilitated in the eyes of astrology, but what you truly are is an acquired taste of high quality, high quality vibration. People can't lie to you. They can't. And so that's going to scare away a lot of people. Most people would rather live in their, and I mean like almost everybody would rather live in their bullshit than be honest, right? So if I were you, I would just lead back in the faith that know that those that are for you, they're not afraid to listen to you. They're not afraid to hear what you have to say. That being said, the number one thing that I see Scorpio moons struggle with is listening to other people. As soon as you feel that retort, somebody says they don't act that way or they don't feel that way about you, but different, you want to stand up and argue. You want to prove your point. You want them to know the truth. The power actually comes in your silence. That is where your true fucking power is just not saying anything, letting the work show for itself. Like somebody underestimates you, you could stand there and pipe off and show them all of the different ways that you've been amazing in the past, and like point to the history and patterns and tell them like you have no reason to doubt me, or you could just do the work. And I feel like that's something you've probably already come into terms with, but it's definitely getting stronger now. Silence is it's your golden method. So with Mars in Cancer at 29 degrees, this is an archaic degree, meaning it's very potent. You will go through many experiences when it comes to men, their emotional well-being, their emotional IQ, their emotions in general, sexual power between men and women, masculinity, being effeminate, femininity, being emasculate. There's that androgynous energy as well. All of this is phases you're supposed to go through, honey. It's how you process connecting with others, because psychically, having a 12th house sun, you meet people at their soul. They're not even fully fucking aware of it. Then you tap into them through your Scorpio moon and you read them to filth and you say, hey, this is what I see of you. And they're like, gross, you just took a naked of my soul, of my psychology. What are you talking about? Put that away. I don't want anybody to see that. That doesn't mean you were wrong. Doesn't mean you were wrong. It means most people are not prepared to listen. It's going to be about refining who you talk to, honey. It's going to be about refining, pulling back and saying less. Especially when it comes to men. Especially. Because I'm telling you, if you just come down at them and this is how you're wrong and that's how you're wrong and this is how, yes, you're right, but they won't hear a damn word you say. You don't have the Pisces placements to manipulate them and make them think they want to listen to you. You don't have them. You just make them more sure that they're not safe. Okay? You're not the one to be taking down the patriarchy all by yourself, honey. That's not it. You're the one to be empowering the women to trust their instincts. That's your job. That is your job, okay? There are some women who are designed literally to talk to men so that they can get them to think different. That's not you. You have that power with women. Insane powers when it comes to influence with women. Whether it's through meditation, teaching them yoga, whatever you want. By the way, you are a teacher. I'll get there. I'm jumping ahead. I can tell that I'm low on time. I'm probably going to go over. Anyways, the Scorpio moon frequency came from the trauma you experienced at home. It came from your parents. It came from that bullshit. I don't want to talk about it. You already know, you were there. It came from that, and it is the armor that you acquired. It can either have you completely isolated and not let anybody in, or it can have you standing in front of people protecting them, more vulnerable people. So it's really up to you what you do with that armor. I'll leave it at that. 6th house is stacked Sagittarius energy. I love this. You got Saturn in retrograde, 15 degrees. You have a part of fortune. You got Uranus retrograde. You got the vertex. So what are those things? The vertex and the part of fortune. Those are calculations based on your specific birth time. Part of fortune is pretty easy. So 5 degrees of Aries is a lucky day for you every year, but also 5 degrees of Libra, 5 degrees of Cancer, 5 degrees of Capricorn offer you lessons, okay? And then 5 degrees of any fire or air sign gives you a bonus of energy. So I'm going to let you know what 5 degrees of these signs are. So 5 degrees of Aries is generally like the 26th, 27th day of March. 5 degrees of Leo, 28th, 29th of July. It'll be the last couple days of every month of the cardinal months, okay? And then the Sagittarius one, it's November 26, 27. So July 26, 27, March 26, 27, and what did I say there? November 26, 27. Those are your fiery days. Those are the days that you get like your battery recharged, okay? And you get lucky things happen to you because that's your card of fortune in the fifth house. Probably coming through love, creativity, inspiration of creativity, or children, like if you have kids. Saturn, Uranus in retrograde here. This is a generational thing. So a chunk of millennials have a big bunch of Capricorn, and a chunk of millennials have a big bunch of Sag. And then another chunk of millennials are like almost in Aquarius. It's kind of the age gaps between us, the ones that are closer. Like you were born in 87, I was born in 84. So we're like that first batch. We got a lot of Sag. The next batch got a shitload of Capricorn. And I mean like a ridiculous amount of Capricorn. So they're going to be building up stuff. We're supposed to be philosophers. Philosophes. We're supposed to be philosophers preaching to inspire the builders. And the builders are coming up just after us. 89, 88, 89, 91, 92. Those are the builders. Those are the Capricorns that are coming in with the new, honestly, like the next world leaders will be those people born in those years. Us, 84, 85, 86, 87, and honestly, it's only to July, like you're on the cutoff of 87, is all the people who see the thing, say the thing to the right people that inspire them. We literally are like the last ones that have to just live with the suffer and speak on it, but we're the first ones talking about it entirely. I am so digressing, I'm sorry. You have this energy of Saturn in a fire sign, and we have Saturn entering a fire sign. It is entering Aries, okay? That's the top of your chart. We're going to get there in a second. But having Saturn in a fire sign, when Saturn comes into fire sign, means that the rules that you've made for yourself when it comes to structuring things in the fifth house, like children, creativity, pleasure, love, and loving, those structures are now something that you can lean on, and there's something that you're going to be rewarded for and grow on, okay? So that may be like, you know, I don't fuck on the first date, or I only work with oil acrylics. Whatever those rules are that you put up for yourself, they are going to be adjusted this year, and honestly, you're going to be benefiting because you put them in place. That's starting in like the end of this month. You're getting a taste of it for the rest of the year, but it will retrograde. It's not until 2026 that you really get to reap those rewards. But I shouldn't be doing predictions. This is just supposed to be a birth chart reading. Sixth house has Cap, retrograde, Neptune, which is opposite your sun. You have an amazing way of teaching people how to do things through just intuitively like reading them and reading the room. Okay, that's because it's hitting off that 12th house. That psychic sensibility that you have is very, very strong when it comes to work and how you apply yourself to work. Okay, you got to watch out that you don't go all or nothing and forget to eat, forget to drink. Those are kind of things that happen when you have Neptune in the sixth house. But other than that, just please make sure there's a creative outlet at work, whether it's, you know, writing or painting or whatever. Make sure there's some creative outlet. Okay, so the next thing that I have here is the seventh house Aquarius. This is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, which are in the fifth house. Partnership isn't a tricky thing for you. I think once you figured out your taste and your style and you got comfortable with it, it really didn't make any difference. You're quite proud of the partners that you keep when you have them. How you partner is that you meet people at their innovative state. You meet people when their gears are turning. I have the eighth house is isolated, just like the second house was. When it comes to debts and trusting other people, that's something you need to get in front of this year. Like really figure out who you can merge with, who you can share finances with, that kind of thing. Because with the North Node coming through Pisces, you may be offered credit cards or other things like that. It's going to be a trick. It's going to be more interest than you think. It's not going to work out the way you want. So read the fine print for the next 2.5 years. I know this isn't supposed to be predictive, but you have a very big faith aspect when it comes to debt, and that can be dangerous. You can like end up wishing yourself into a lot of money and then spend it all before you even get a chance to register that you had it. So the ninth house, I like this for you. This is when, remember I said, I think you're a teacher. The ninth house has the North Node and Jupiter. Jupiter ruling over your fifth house, Jupiter ruling over your eighth house. I think you could be a teacher of children. I think you could teach people. I mean, you probably come off as a teacher when you talk to people because they're so inspired by your method and your creativity. I do think that there is something here about being like an official teacher, though. Could be TED Talks, but I don't know. I think you should get yourself to the college. You have something to say. People need to hear it. So the 10th house for you is... Okay, first off, I should say your midheaven falls in your ninth house, meaning you're here to learn. You're not here to be notarized as the teacher as much as you're here to be notarized by your students as their appreciation for the lesson. Okay, so like you will be remembered because you got through, not because you wrote something that nobody else has heard before, just because you said it in a way that stuck. The 10th house, Venus, ruling over it in the 12th house. This again, I feel like you are known as a recluse. You are known as somebody who goes inwards and figures things out on your own. This is something that you can teach people to do themselves. So whether that's creating your own yoga studio and showing other people how to do it, or meditating in the woods, or I don't know, traveling alone. There are things that you do as a legacy alone by yourself that inspire other people. And it will be one of the things you're remembered for. The 11th house has Chiron here at 24 degrees, which is a pretty important degree in your chart because other things are at 26 and 24 is pretty close, and 23 is all working together. Having friends who have been through mental anguish or not been appreciated for their intelligence, that is right in your wheelhouse. If your friends are normal or they seem normaler than you or like boring or basic, those aren't your real friends. They're not who you're meant to be with. You can let them go. And more interesting people need you. People who have had intellectual disabilities, people who have been judged for their mental capabilities or their neurodivergence, that's your homies. That's your people. Okay, that's your 11th house, and it will make you money and it'll feed your soul to be around them. Anyways, that's your birth chart reading. I'm way over time. I got to call my kids' school. I think this hopefully got everything well, thoroughly activated. I am going to pull some cards now for the last half of this reading, just so that you can, we can get some guidance from Spirit about what you should look into further next. So again, Cancer, Sun, Leo, rising. Moon in Scorpio, emotional control, men's emotional control, people's emotional control, the nervous system and the relationship to emotional control, somatic release, King of Cups. That's the trick, honey. It's getting good with the relationship to your father, your emotional relationship to father, authority, because when you do that, everything around you is going to change. Strength card reversed. Understand that you have to drop the ego. It's okay to say you were hurt. It's okay to say that it hurt in the first place. It's okay to say that it wrecked you. There's strength in that, in claiming your battle wounds. I literally just watched a TikTok about a dude who got shot in a firing squad in the Mexican Revolution. He was shot like 18 times. He survived. Then the guys came over and shot him in the head. He survived, and he ended up living till he was like 84. The man was a testament to resilience, okay? And that's going to be the strength that you show through emotional regulation. You're going to be doing the work that they couldn't do, okay? And that makes a lot of sense with the Sun in Cancer in the 12th house, because he couldn't handle it. He dipped out, but he left you with all of those feelings. Last card here, 10 of Pentacles, baby. It's all win. It's all win. I got chills. All right, I'm going to leave 5 minutes and 50 seconds here. I'm going to leave 5 minutes for you to reach out to me. We're going to text back and forth. I'll confirm any questions you have, but I'm going to list out your degrees right now. So you have a sun at 13 degrees, 51 minutes in the 12th house. You have a moon at 9 degrees, 22 minutes in the 4th house. You were born on a first quarter moon. It's gaining, okay? You have a Mercury at 10 degrees, 12th house, retrograde. You have Venus at 0.45 degrees, Cancer. You have Mars at 29 degrees, Cancer. Jupiter, 26 degrees, Aries. Saturn, 15 degrees, retrograde, Sagittarius. Uranus, 23 degrees, retrograde, Sagittarius. Neptune, retrograde, 6 degrees, Capricorn. Pluto, 7 degrees, 11 minutes, retrograde, 4th house, conjunct the moon. Node, 6 degrees, retrograde, Aries. Lilith, 25 degrees, 12th house, Cancer. Chiron, 24 degrees, Gemini, 11th house. Fortune, 5 degrees, 57 minutes, or 6 degrees of any fire sign. Any fire sign, okay? And the vertex at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. Thank you so much for trusting me. We'll connect soon. Hit me with 3 clarifying questions and I'll send you back the results.